feels great to be back to all of this. With the time off, it really puts things in perspective of just how blessed we are to experience something like this. So, just thankful.
And I'm sure whenever you wanted to come back, you could have just hit up the UFC and they would have had a fight for you. So why the wait between the fight against Hamza in 2023 till now?
Why the wait?
Yeah, like why didn't you fight any earlier? Like why now?
I mean, there's really, I don't know. Just being a place where you have the opportunity to kind of heal some injuries, you have the opportunity to kind of take some time off. I was pretty active there for X amount of numbers of years, even as a champion. So, you know, you kind of get to a place where it's like, maybe we could take a breath here and see what's next.
Yeah. Has that been nice? Yeah, you were a very active champion. Has it been nice to be able to kind of sit back and not have the pressure of like, man, I gotta defend the title and then after that again and again?
It's yes and no, because it's been nice to see other things and open up your peripherals, your vision to all the other things outside that you normally wouldn't be focused on, where you're just tunnel vision and training and defending the belt. So, but this is just one aspect of our lives. We have I want to say long life, but it doesn't feel so long. We have a life to live. We have other things that we need to do in this world, whether it's being a father, a great father, or a partner, or brother, or sister, or husband, or a businessman, or whatever it is. There's a lot of other things to do. And with fighting, it gives you just such perspective because you're so honed in and focused on being this. So that time off just kind of gave me some time to see other things. But, you know, then you understand there's other problems out there other than just fighting, you know, so it's been nice and at the same time puts things in perspective.
Buckley called you out in December. When he called you out, did you feel like that was going to be the next fight? And also, what have you made of his run at 170 pounds?
No, I didn't really think it would be the next. There was a time where it could have been Shavkat. There was a time where it could have been potentially JDM, or so it, you know, it didn't matter to me. It was just I wanted to get in here and feel that competition again. And Buckley's done a phenomenal job with putting himself in a place where he is able to get a fight like this. But if I'm Buckley, if I'm anyone else in the division, 100%, this is exactly what I was doing. Maybe not the way that they're doing it, but this is exactly what I was doing when I was on the come up and I wanted to fight Wonder Boy, Woodley, and Covington, and all these guys, or Damian Maia. This is, I guess, it's part of the job.
Yeah. And I gotta ask you, like, obviously you're focused on the fight on Saturday, but beyond that, is there, are you focused on getting your belt back? What goals do you have now for this part of your career? Is it still the belt to become champion once again?
Being 100% honest, I mean, absolutely. Of course, we want to be champions. If you don't want to be champion, what are you doing? This is not go outside and let's just shoot hoops, play basketball. If you don't want to be champion, what are you doing? So absolutely, that is in the peripheral. That is what I want. But I would also say, being fully honest, there's a feeling that you get from competition that you can't explain, that's more powerful than anything else. It's that feeling of working as hard as possible as you possibly can and going out there and knowing that this man worked as hard as he possibly could and you getting the best of him, being able to best that man. It's that feeling, it's so addicting. And I want to feel that a couple more times before I transcend into something else.
Yeah. And lastly, keeping in mind that the belt is obviously something you still want, how do you see your path there?
My path there, well, just pretty simple. I'll just lay out the map right here. Is finish Buckley this weekend, and then wait for the winner of, I believe, Islam and JDM, which is going to be an incredible fight. Such a great thing now having Islam come up into the division. You know, who wouldn't buy a ticket to that? A former pound for pound and current pound for pound. And I love Islam. Islam's a great fighter. I think that's something that we would both remember forever. Win that and go ahead and probably vacate, go up. Myself, Dricus du Plessis, if he is the champion, or Hamza Chimaev too, if Dricus is no longer the champion. We do that if Dricus is the champion, we do that in the first card in Africa. I mean, that's another blockbuster too. These are back-to-back blockbuster fights that you tell your grandkids about, and who wouldn't watch those? And so, and then after that, you know, now you're sitting with 2 belts, and it's like, what do we do next? You know, so that's, I would say, long-term goal in the back of my mind.
Thank you.
Hey, Kamaru, right next to him. So you just sort of talked about what is a very audacious plan, right? Have you spoken with the UFC? Have there been any conversations about, I go out here, I perform against Buckley, you know, I'm next in line for the winner of Islam JDM?
I wouldn't say necessarily spoken with them, but I think that's, the UFC is, and then the powers that may be are very smart, man, and they do their job. They know how to make money. So if it makes money, it makes sense. So, and it's not far-fetched. Did any of those plans seem crazy? No. So I think I'm in a position to where we can potentially make those things happen. So, hey, if we're rolling, let's keep rolling.
Fantastic. Buckley was in here earlier, and he sort of just mentioned offhand, he thinks welterweight's the best division in the sport, and he was pretty dismissive of Islam Makhachev's chance. It sounds like you're less dismissive of Islam, but do you agree that welterweight is the best division? How do you like his opportunity here?
Well, I think it's everyone's taste, acquired taste, and what you want. If you want to see some fast guys throwing a bunch of punches and stuff, you know, obviously those lower weight classes are going to be something you pay attention to. If you want to see, you know, not necessarily as fast of guys, but when they touch you with a shot, you go to sleep. Yeah, those upper weights are what you're going to kind of be wanting to pay attention to. But welterweight is kind of the cream of the crop because we all know genetically most men are in that weight category. From lightweight to welterweight, I think most men on the planet kind of fall into that category. So you see a lot more competitive fights there. So it's a lot more fun because I don't want to say a lot more fun, but they pack punch, they have power, and then they have the speed as well. So that's just a happy medium. So you get a lot more competitive and really, really good fights there. Right now it's on fire. But right now also the bantamweight's on fire. You know, right now with what's his name, with Ilya Topuria moving up to lightweight. Lightweight's always been on fire with Justin Gaethje and Ilya and Charles and all and Islam. So yeah, I would say welterweight definitely is up there.
Shifting gears a little, this is your first non-pay-per-view bout in 7 years. You're still obviously the main event, but does it feel any different this week with that kind of change?
No, but yes. Obviously it's a little lighter in here. But no, once you're in it, once you're in the shape, you're in it. It's fight week. And so if you're not dialed in to getting all those, you know, things done, hitting the markers in the bed, you know, the things you have to get done, then all of this can distract you and you're not focused on that fight. So when you're focused on that fight and you're dialed in, it's routine now. So at the end of the day, it's, hey, I'm still gonna walk out last, which is kind of what I'm accustomed to. The last fight of the night, when you're done, event's over, you get to go home. You don't have to wait around and do other things, so, yeah.
Thanks, and last one from me. Did a face-off with Buckley yesterday. He said something, how's it feel to face the new king? What do you make of his energy coming into this? You know, you've been doing this a long time. Do you think he's looking past you, given his current run? Just sort of speak on that if you could.
No, I don't. I think he said, how does it feel to be going up against a new generation or something like that. No, I didn't take anything from that. Buckley's done a fantastic job with what he's been presented so far. And it's no easy task to win one fight, but to string together 6 in a row, that's gonna give you ultra confidence to where you think you can do no wrong. And so, he's confident, and that's important, and I like that. So it adds a little more fire into, no one wants to just go out there and fight a fish. You don't get that excitement that we all want. So he's gonna come, he's ultra confident, ultra aggressive, and I'm gonna just be me and let my experience take over. And I think that's why I still do this, and that's where I want to shine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Come on, right here. Just kind of going off that last question, Buckley was asked about it as well, and he kind of said some interesting things. Like he said, I watched his previous face-offs with guys like Colby and Masvidal, and he said, I didn't get that energy when he was standing in front of me. And then he also said something like, I judge a lot of body language of people, and he said, he took a big, deep breath in when he stood in front of me. So I want to, kind of get what you think of those comments.
Well, of course I took a deep breath. You have to breathe, If you don't breathe, you pass out. So, no, I'm not necessarily a talker unless I have to defend myself. If you say something to me, of course I'm gonna defend myself in a certain way, but I'm also older, I'm also wiser, and in that aspect you understand what your abilities are, you understand what you put into this. I've put in lots of work with my team, training. I'm just fucking tired. Why I need to be talking? On Saturday we're gonna be locked in there. And that's what I'm gonna do, talking.
And then another one, he was talking about, your former opponents, and he said he's never really faced anybody that has my type of movement. And then he talked about your sparring partners as well. He said, I've seen the guys he's sparring with, and they just stand in front of him. They don't move like I do, which, is a little bit crazy because you're sparring with Justin Gaethje. But, just talk to me about that as well, about he's saying that you're not going to be as agile, you're not going to be able to keep up with his movement in there. So what are your thoughts on that?
That's great. Like I said, you can say whatever you like to say to build that confidence in your head, which is a very powerful thing. But Buckley presents a certain challenge, and it is what it is. That's what we do. We deal with challenges. Me and my team, my coaches, we've put the time in. So go out there Saturday. I guess we'll see how I deal with that movement.
And then last one, a little bit unrelated. Sean O'Malley just recently came out. He was talking about the things that he went through post-fight with Marab. You're a guy, obviously, that's been through it all. And he said some things like, I was more nervous than I've ever been. I almost felt vulnerable in that octagon. I just wondered if you'd ever kind of been in that situation where you were super nervous right before you made that walk, like to the point where you're almost scared to get in there. And do you think that fighters should be that open when when they're vulnerable like that post-fight?
That's a good question. We're in a really, I guess I want to say, weird time in society right now, to where we're trying to figure out how to progress forward, especially as men. We've always known that since the history of time, I guess the female species and women have always told us, communicate more, be vulnerable, and all these things. And it's kind of been men trying to figure out how we fall into that, how we govern ourselves with that. And we're kind of in a weird time right now to where with social media and information so accessible, we want to be able to inform the people behind us, the ones behind us, of what we've dealt with and how we navigated through those things. But at the same time, we want to connect with the ones maybe before us that, did you feel this? Because that's what I'm feeling now. So it's a lot of information right now in the world, and it's not necessarily right or wrong. I can be honest with you and tell you right now, every fighter has felt that going out unless you're borderline psychopath. Every fighter has felt that. You're nervous, you're anxious, you're scared, you're excited, you want to pee yourself, and you want to poop yourself, but at the same time, you don't know what's going on. We all feel that. And it's with time, with experience, you understand that starts to become a lot more normal. Rashad Evans told me this early on in the career, and he says you have to make friends with those feelings. If you make friends with them, then you understand that it's part of the journey. It's what keeps you sharp. So, no, Sean's not wrong about that. Of course, you're supposed to be nervous. That's a big task. You're going in there with the best guy in the world, and it's a fist fight. This ain't no basketball game. It's a fist fight. You could seriously be injured or hurt in there. So, of course, you're supposed to be nervous. That's fine. But he still had the courage to step in there and do it and give his all. So that's all you can ask for as a man.
Kamaru, salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam, brother.
Julian Virgin. You spoke about Buckley on a 6-fight win streak. You're on a 3-fight losing streak. Where is your confidence at?
It's in my pocket. My confidence comes from just the preparation. Yeah, you could say, yeah, it's three fights that you've dropped, but look at those fights. Really though, I didn't go out there and just lay down in those 3 fights. And so, like I said, when you really put that time in preparation and you go out there and you give it your all, that's all you can ask for as a man. And so that's what I'm looking at to do, is go out there and really showcase everything that I put in and give that maximum effort. Because when you do that, you can't be disappointed with your efforts. It's when you prepare and then you go out there and you just do nothing and you just lay down. That's when you can be disappointed that, I could have done more.
You've been very vulnerable throughout your time as champion, throughout your time as a fighter. You've spoken on things such as your health and how, sometimes your knees, and they make jokes about it online. I want to know physically, where are you as you step into this bout?
I'm good. I really am good. It's funny because that's a joke, a running joke. They knees. They don't realize knees were, if not worse, in my first fight in the UFC. My first fight, I was coming in right off the back of a microfracture surgery. And I don't think people, and that's doctors say that's about an 8-month recovery. And I fought 4 months after the surgery. And so I don't think people realize that it was worse before. I know it's a running joke, everyone likes to joke about it, but I've been beating people's asses with knees. So it is what it is. They can say whatever they want. Saturday, we're gonna get in there. He's gonna punch me, I'm gonna punch him. We're gonna see who wins.
The Nigerian Nightmare, you always represent Africa. You're headlining the card in Atlanta, Georgia. They call this the Black Mecca. What does it mean to be here in Atlanta, Georgia, to compete in front of this crowd?
It means a lot. I got a lot of family here, a lot of Africans here. So hopefully Atlanta, the UFC did a great job of promoting that, because then we'll get to see a lot of them show up and show out. But it means a lot. It was either here or Dallas. So it means a lot to me, especially when you get to a certain part of your career. UFC is such a big and such a global company. They could have gone anywhere. So getting this opportunity meant a lot.
And again, we've been able to watch you grow as a man and as a father. Sunday is Father's Day, man. Could you speak on what it means to be a dad? Not just a father, but just to be a dad to a beautiful young woman.
I'm in fight mode right now, so I can't really get vulnerable with all that. But it's amazing. It's one of those gifts that I always, even younger, even in college, I always knew that that's something I wanted to embark on, and we're on it. Now two daughters, so it's a great blessing that I can't wait to go enjoy after this weekend. But right now, I'm still locked in here.
And as you're locked in, what does it take for you to get your hand raised Saturday night?
Saturday night, I think it's trusted in my experience. trusting in my preparation and just letting it happen. Because before the fight and preparation, of course, you're preparing everything, but once you step in there, you got to take what he's given, and he's got to take what I'm giving. So you just kind of have to let the experience take over and let that preparation from your team take over. Because I've been in fights where we were training something, a certain technique, and you don't ever use that. And then I've been in fights where you're training a certain technique, and it's just not that you plan on it, just technique comes out. It's like, oh shit, that works. So it's just trusting the experience and letting it come out. Thank you.
Kamaru, this is coming up on your 10-year anniversary of your bout in the Ultimate Fighter final. What are the lessons that you've learned in your nearly 10 years with the promotion?
That's what I mean right there. Is you saying 10 years? Sheesh. 10 years went by like that, and I think that is why I'm so grateful, because it's not too long ago I was walking around behind Rashad Evans and kind of his little young training partner, right? And watching how people treated Rashad Evans. He was a superstar. He was a god, at some points. And now I'm sure Rashad is sitting in a place where he's like, man, that went by so fast. And look where I'm at. I'm sitting here, and you guys are going 10 years. You've been in the UFC. I'm like, Jesus, there was a time I was 5-1. I was like, man, I wish I could get in the UFC. And now 10 years later, I'm sitting here having a conversation with you guys. I'm just blessed that I was, able to do what I've done with what God blessed me with. So I'm thankful.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, Kamaru, what does this comeback fight mean to you personally and professionally?
What does this fight?
Yes.
There's a lot of implications, I think, for me, because, like, as you guys all know, you come to a place where you have to assess certain things. Like, why am I still doing this? Can I still do this? Do I still do this? And so, yeah, it means a lot. If I go out there and I'm able to execute the way that I prepared, the way that my team prepared me, and with the tools that I have, then of course it gives you that validation. Like, yeah, let's keep going. Like I said, we got some goals here. We want to go get that belt next, and then go get the other belt that has eluded me for a while. So, yeah.
If everything goes right on the fight night, what message do you want to send to the rest of the division?
Well, they know what's up. I have been and always will be the boogeyman of this division, so they know what's up.
You are 6-time champion. Jiří Procházka, light heavyweight champion, former. What was your reaction that he turns down the title fight and proceed his university degree?
Who?
Jiří Procházka,
Yuri?
light heavyweight, former light heavyweight champion.
Oh, he turned down the title fight?
Yeah, and studied to finish his degree.
Right now? He turned
Yes.
down the fight? I understand it. I understand it because, think about it, Jiří Procházka now has fought for the title, what, 3 times already? 3 to 4. Yeah, quite a few times. And has won the title, but has fallen short in, I think, back-to-back attempts. So, it depends. Yuri is one of those, he's an artist. And so, he might, in his head, he feels like, you know what, now I need to give myself a little bit of time. Let me go study something else. And if that brings me back and centers me again to go for the title, I'll do it. So, much power to him. I respect that. Yuri was an incredible fighter. Did really good things with his time. So, I understand it.
So do you think it's possible or even admirable for top fighter to prioritize education over a championship opportunity in this UFC?
Well, it depends on what type of education. I mean, we're learning here. I learned how to not get punched 7 times by Justin in the face. You learn, there's education everywhere. And so that's just he's choosing to go do that type of education. Maybe he's learning how to fly a plane, which might be useful for him. So it's always good to prioritize education. It just depends on what type of education you get.
Thank you.
Good.
Just real quick, Kamaru, over here. You laid out your plan, and I don't know if you saw, but Bilal Muhammad, after he lost his belt, he said there's a lot of interest in fighting you, and he thinks that fight has to happen at some point. Is he in your plan to get back to the world title? You have to go through it.
Like now, here's the thing: is when Bilal Muhammad was champion, there was a reason to fight Bilal Muhammad, right? He had a title. Let's be honest here. We're not the best of friends, but I don't wish him any bad. You know, he's my Muslim brother, so I don't wish him any bad. But what do you have to offer me? You gonna give me a side deal? You gonna throw me a little extra cash on the side? If he's gonna do that, maybe. But who knows? You know. But I hope he's recovering well. That was a tough loss, so hopefully he bounces back.
Yeah. So the bad blood between you two doesn't give you any.
It was never bad blood. That was never really the case. Like, if you really look at the history of, you look at myself and Colby Covington, that rivalry, which, I mean, it's over with. You know, Colby is Colby. But there was a story, there was things that are lined up there with that one. With Bilal, no, it's just a guy that was in the division that did well, eventually became champion, and then once he became champion, then you really start to kind of hear his voice a little bit more, and at times it was a little bit annoying, and that was pretty much it. But there's no necessarily bad blood between me and Bilal. It is what it is. You know, I wish him well. If he's champion, or if I'm champion, I'm sure he's gonna want to fight me. If he's champion, I'm gonna want to compete against him for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate you.